Greetings and gratitude. It's your girl Z, aka Zalia, and welcome to my podcast, or welcome back to the wonders of the human experience. Today is episode 8, Arts of Self to Master. Ooh! And as you can clearly see on the screen, I do have the list of things that we will be covering. Because boy, oh boy, although if you are currently here on this earth, these are definitely things like these are vital for you to learn while operating down here. But honestly, if I can be so real, this is universal. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there and say, beyond the earth, every being needs to learn and master this. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, let's get on right into the first one, which is acceptance. Oh my gosh, y'all. When I tell y'all, and honestly, it depends on your personal experience and how this kind of shapes around you. So definitely, fit this where it needs to be fit. But I'm going to always use myself as an example, of course. So I want to give y'all like the shadows of what it looks like when you aren't accepting yourself, like who you are as a soul, as a divine being. So I want to like tell you guys a quick story about like when I first started realizing like I was not accepting aspects of myself, and also like experiences, like past experiences that had already like taken place. But I just, I was just in this mindset of like, okay, I don't like how that happened to me. Like I was just in this loop of like not accepting so many different things. And this was 2024. It was a whole year ago, right? And I was literally I kept getting messages from my spirit guides, and they just kept telling me, you are accepting yourself. You are accepting yourself. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to say any bad words, but y'all know how I get sometimes. So I'm like, what the are y'all talking about? So I had this one moment when I was outside and I was literally stargazing, and I was like literally talking to myself, and I was literally just asking myself, okay, Z, what aren't you accepting? Like, what is it that you literally aren't like just accepting? And like, I kid y'all not, immediately things like from my past started coming up. And then I just started observing it, right? So then I noticed like the thought patterns that I had when it came to these experiences that had already, taken place. And I'm not going to hold you guys. The experiences that were coming up, it was like the experiences like before my awakening and also after my awakening. Because I'm not going to lie, my entire life literally flipped upside down. So I went from having all of like the material things. I had my own car, I had my own place, I had a really good paying job. Like all of these things were, together for me. And when that shit was snatched from me, like when I tell y'all, that shit was literally snatched right from under me. I used to always like look back and be like, damn, I wish I could have went back to that job, and I wish I could still get, you know what I'm saying? I used to do that so much, and I used to hate how things really like happened. But I was like almost refusing to understand that all of that stuff was taken from me, so I could rebuild my foundation how it should have been the first time. Because although I had those material things and I felt somewhat secure in my life, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, I was completely drained. I wasn't happy. I wasn't actually like in love with my life. I was just comfortable and secure with it. And I literally remember that night, I was like, okay, you have to stop thinking that life isn't working out in your favor and that it's not happening for you. And I was constantly thinking that, oh, this is happening to me and I'm being punished and all these things. Like, I just was being the victim. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna lie. I was putting myself in a very victim mentality, and it was keeping me from actually being present and actually looking forward to, good things in life, like speaking life over, things that are here currently that I'm experiencing right now. So those were one of the first things that came up, right? Another thing that kept coming up was I wasn't accepting my level of sensitivity. So what I mean by that is I knew that I could pick up on energy extremely well, but I always tried to like hide it. Like, I wouldn't let people necessarily know that I was that kind of way, unless like they got really close to me, and then they found out all these amazing things that you know what I'm saying? Like, and even like parts of myself, I would deny it, like, and play it off as if I don't care, or I was just brushing things off. Like, but no, like, I really do feel things very deeply, extremely deeply. And like, I also was like in this mindset that because I was disregarding how deeply I felt things, I was also disregarding a lot of emotions that were coming up. And I kept trying to like brush it off and like, oh, I'm not hurt by that. Oh, I don't feel no type of way about that. But in actual reality, I was. Like, I really genuinely was. So that was another thing that I was, going through. And then another thing that I realized that I had a hard time accepting about myself was how powerful I am. And granted, we're all very powerful in our own unique way, right? But for me specifically, I had a hard time like understanding how truly different, like how truly unique I really am. And like, I say this all the time to myself, but I am not like most people. Like, when I say that, I genuinely mean that. Like, I'm not like most people. I stand out, and it's like I'm a popular loner in a way. Like, I'm not lonely, but I'm well known. But oftentimes you will see me by myself or to myself or in my own energy or in that solitude. You know what I'm saying? And at first, it used to kind of, upset me because I was craving like attention and to be validated and to felt like I was worthy. You know what I'm saying? Then I realized, like, dang, all of these things that I want from other people, I'm not necessarily giving it to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not necessarily giving myself the attention that my inner child, needs, and or other aspects of myself, like whatever it was. And then once I realized that, I literally started sitting with myself, and like everything that I wanted from other people, I started giving it to myself. And when I tell y'all, that completely changed how I just looked at so many different things in my life, y'all. Like, it changed so much for me. And it got to a point where I would literally have these moments with myself, and I would literally get to the nitty gritty of like the shadow work, like what people call shadow work, and get to the understandings of why I felt the way that I felt, and like, where did this stem from? Where's the root issue of this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was always doing that, and still I do this to this day. Like, it's almost like a regular Tuesday for me at this point. But yeah, like, the minute I started accepting who I was and my experiences for what they were and how it always had been working out in my favor, I started to realize that man, being the observer and taking what you need to take from whatever the case may be, and really integrating that into wisdom so you don't repeat those same things over again is going to be really important. So it's like acceptance kind of forces you to literally acknowledge what is being taken place, what has already taken place, and how is that shaping your reality right now. And if you don't like your reality right now, what are steps you can take to change that? You know what I'm saying? So that's ultimately what I learned about accepting myself. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into the next one, which is detachment. Oh boy. Okay, so when it comes to detachment, this is extremely parallel to your ability to also accept things. And the reason why I say that is because the same reason for you to accept things is you have to have the understanding. We have seen time and time again that creating illusions or ignoring things for what they truly are is gonna remove your ability to move forward and to be in the present. And what I mean by that is when you have an understanding of why a specific experience has or is currently taking place, it literally helps you move forward. So like I said, when you're ignoring the truth and creating these illusions, it's gonna literally keep you in that past energy. And like I want to bring up also like what I was saying during the acceptance part, as far as like me holding on to like these mental thoughts of this everything, how everything was literally snatched away from me, like how everything like literally forced me like to start over. Like honestly guys, that is not a good feeling. Like especially in this society of like where we live, or people make like the materialistic things like there's this huge emphasis. If you don't have a car, your own place, a good job, like they emphasize like you ain't shit pretty much. Like you're not worthy of anything because you don't have these things. And that's literally not true. It's not true. So you could imagine losing all these things. I didn't feel good about it. Like I would beat myself up all the time. Like, dang, I had such a good life, quote unquote, have such a good life. I have so many good things going for me, this and that and the fourth. But like, once again, I had to literally step out of that mental illusion that I kept putting myself in, and like really understand like how did that really work out for me. And I'm telling y'all, it forced me to rebuild my foundation the way it needed to be built, because it wasn't built on integrity, it wasn't built on compassion. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. And I can take this a step further, and even as far as like on an emotional level, like even behavioral level too. But like, let me start with the emotional part. Like emotionally, I was still in that past energy of like beating myself up, because once again, it doesn't feel great to have all this shit ripped from you, bro. It's not the best feeling in the world, and it literally throws you in this loop of like, dang, you know, it's like a fight or flight energy, like a survival mode. And I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this, you've probably felt this shit before. Like honestly speaking, you felt what it's like to be in that survival mode. You know what I'm saying? And as far as behavioral wise, how this correlates to, because I was still doing shit that wasn't in my highest and all good. Like I was still in an environment, especially like the job that I had, it wasn't the best job. Like the people in like the environment, the people, the friends, the quote unquote friends that I had there. I mean, oh my gosh, it wasn't in my highest good. Like I was not supposed to stay there, and I wasn't meant to be friends with those people for that long. And yeah, like that's literally, it's very parallel to your ability to accept. And once you're willing to acknowledge and accept things, you automatically start to like detach from things, because now you have this understanding of, oh, like the only reason why I was holding on to that because I felt like I had to, or I felt like something was wrong with me if I let go of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah. I also, want to talk about like the shadow aspects of detachment, because up on the screen you'll see that I have like a definition, like my personal definition of what it looks like the shadows of detachment. So refusing change and holding on to people, places, or things that no longer serve you. I'm telling y'all, this is exactly how it shows up in your reality. If you're constantly looking back at certain experiences and you don't see how it worked in your favor, or you don't see how you losing that job, or you literally being forced to leave a place, or even people, like people, sometimes people don't choose us and we're mad that they don't choose us. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff has a lot to do with your ability to detach. But once again, that is literally parallel to your ability to accept things, accept the truth. And a lot of people can like, want to hang on to things, and they want things their way. Like I said, for me, like I was so mad that how I saw me losing all those things. I saw it as like, damn, I'm not, this is not how I want my life to be. This is not how I want things to be working out for me. Like it's that mental thought. Like I literally had to literally sit down and observe and really integrate a higher perspective, because it was holding me back. It was truly, truly, truly holding me back. But let's move on to the next one, which is soul awareness. I love this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the soul awareness to me personally is you understanding that you are more than your mind and you are more than your body. Meaning your consciousness that came from God is literally the reason why you're even able to function and breathe. It's like the fact that your body and your mind even has the ability to function the way that it does lets me know that you have that spark, you have that essence, you have the consciousness of God flowing through you, which has to mean that you are more than your mind and you are more than your body. Now, a lot of people will catch themselves attaching to their thoughts, or they'll attach to ego things that deals with, the body, like very, I forget what they call it, but like the bodily desires is what what I'll call it. You know what I'm saying? So even in the definition that I have there, right? Internalizing the human experience. That is purely ego. That's what the ego wants to do. The ego wants to internalize and consume things. But naturally, instinctually, this is our way of learning at first. Because you know that saying of you have to feel it in order to release it, or in order to understand it. That is true. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times with our experiences, we have to get our hearts broken a few times. We have to go through crucial, challenges in order to truly understand, okay, why this is why I don't want to do that anymore. This is why I want to be disciplined with regarding this. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, behaviorally, spiritually, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And also, like, the ego is very prone to wanting to create attachments and create these identities and emotions and just be ultimately so consumed by it. Like, that's the ego. That's what the ego is programmed to do. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. I want to say that to have identities or emotions, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel as if I believe, actually, screw that. I know for a fact that identities were made for us to understand and make sense of whatever experience that we are dealing with at hand. But what happens with the ego is we start internalizing the identity as if that's who we are, or we get into this separation of that's no, like, let me go through my notes. Hold. Okay, so even in my notes, I literally have this written down. I'm going to say this verbatim. When having a soul awareness, you no longer attach to ego or societal constructs that are meant to bound slash limit you. Instead, you learn to observe the ego and or social constructs and allow your vessel to express the soul slash the energy, the inner you, which is multifaceted. We were never supposed to idealize identities and our emotions. They were meant to help us understand the energy of what we're experiencing. When you idealize people, places, things, etc., you place an unnecessary pedestal as if you are separate from it, or in other cases, as if that's all of who you are. And oh my gosh, this is literally spot on when it comes to that soul's awareness. It's like you truly forget who you were before the social constructs, before all of these experiences and all of whatever. Like, we completely consume the human experience, forgetting that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that everything in the spirit comes first. That's who you are. You are a spiritual being before this human existence, before this physical thing was even a thing. There was a spiritual. It was always spiritual. It was always the astral. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual is just like, or let me say, the physical is a manifestation of what is happening or what has already taken place in the spiritual realm. And a lot of us, we get so conditioned and programmed into, and a lot of times we just aren't taught these things. We aren't taught that we are more than our bodies. We aren't taught that we are more than our thoughts. Because honestly, a lot of us, especially if you're a starseed, you will easily pick up on energy. You will easily pick up on people's thoughts. You will easily pick up on people's emotions. And because you don't know how powerful you are, you will think that you are these things. Like, you think because you're able to sense things so strongly and so different, that that's who you are. And it's not. It's honestly not. So this also reminds me a lot about the law of one. And I won't talk about that right now, but I do recommend you guys studying the law of one, because it's a powerful law, and it's one of the very first things that all of us, I don't care if you're on earth or not, we all should be understanding what it means to be a part of that, because it is you. It's a part of you. You are a part of God. God is you. You know what I'm saying? You are God. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about when it comes to the soul's awareness. Now let's move on to forgiveness. All right. So we have forgiveness here, and this one is repeating cycles and negative self talk or criticism. Now, the reason why self forgiveness is super important is because this also, which is very parallel, this is also pretty parallel to your ability to accept and detach from things. And what I mean by that is you can be aware all you want, you can acknowledge things all you want, but if you're too busy beating yourself up and criticizing yourself and not meeting yourself with grace, with compassion, with empathy, it will literally have you in this constant cycle of repeating these whatever cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you seriously have to understand that you weren't aware before. Like, how can I? Okay, so let me say it like this. When it comes to you learning about the world and understanding what you're experiencing, you also have to remember that you once did not have the awareness that you did. Like yesterday, you probably didn't have, the same awareness as you do today. You are constantly growing. You're constantly learning. You are constantly understanding different things, different perspectives and point of views. You're constantly on this journey of growing. There is no way you should expect yourself to know everything, to have everything together. That is exactly what the human experience is for. It's to teach you. It's to help you understand life better. It's to help you understand yourself better. And you need life to teach you that. You need these experiences to teach you how to navigate this world for you, for your sake. You know what I'm saying? So you did not once know what you know now. So having that level of grace, compassion, and honestly, like meeting yourself, like with a little bit of curiosity, like, wow, I wasn't aware of that. What else am I not aware of? You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like having so much grace for yourself and forgiveness, like literally all the time. Like, since I'm in a different vibration right now, whenever past things do come up or anything regarding my inner child, and if it wasn't, a very positive experience, I will literally tell myself all the time, like, hey, like, I'm so sorry that I wasn't aware of what I was before. Like, I'm so sorry that I kept betraying you. I kept putting you last, that I kept putting other needs before yours. Like, forgive me. I literally forgive myself. I apologize to myself, and I literally forgive myself, and I tell myself, like, I wasn't aware. I was completely blind. Even if I was picking up on a few of the signs, I was blatantly ignoring them because I literally wasn't putting myself first. And literally for that, I have to forgive myself, because that is the best way that I'm going to be able to learn and move forward, and know that it's okay for me to put myself first. Like, that's okay. That should be the normal thing that we should be doing anyways. You know what I'm saying? We were just taught the opposite of that. But this one is pretty short. I feel like it's very self-explanatory. Like, truly sit down with yourself and literally forgive yourself. You didn't know. And that's okay. How else are you supposed to learn things if you don't experience the challenges? You know what I'm saying? That's what sparks the growth. And that's all I honestly have to say about the forgiveness thing. Okay, so we have self-love next. Ooh, powerful one. All right. So, self love. Let's go ahead and discuss the shadows of what it's like to not love yourself. Creates avoidance, allows, I should probably say, allow others to take advantage and advantage of you specifically. And this also creates instant gratification. Now, there is this huge abandonment wound that I want to say majority of us have. And because we haven't been, nurtured and properly loved in the way for us to grow and evolve in a healthy manner, what the abandonment does is it creates this avoidance in us, and we feel like we constantly have to be on a chase to fill this void, like fill this void that we didn't get, that we were supposed to get as children. And confirmation mark. And what this does, and like I said, I'm going to use myself for an example, like my own personal experiences. So I really want to touch romantic relationships, because even though I haven't had the most, I want to talk about romantic and friendships. So I've had more friendships than I've had romantic relationships. Now, when it came to my friendships, I realized that I was yearning so deeply for really valuable, soulful connections. And it was almost as if it created this desperation to feel seen and to feel honored and to feel like these people really value me in their life, and like I like to feel like I matter to someone. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was in this cycle of attracting people that only liked me for what I would give them, and they would never pour back into me the same way I would pour into them. And it doesn't matter romantically, friendship, like platonic, it doesn't matter. Like, if you are my friend, if you are someone I care about, I will pour into you emotionally, mentally, financially, physically, spiritually, all the above. Like, I am like I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but like I am a serious, like I'm a package. Like I'm like everything. Like I'm the table and more, And like I kid y'all not, like, and I also didn't have friends like that when I was young. Like, majority of my school years, I was bullied. I wasn't around people. People didn't really like me. They would choose my twin sister over me all the time. People was always picking on my looks. People they didn't like me. I literally got bullied for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I started to like kind of branch out of school and I started getting into the workforce, that's kind of when I kind of got like my hands like on like what it's like to have actual friends, like people that talk to me outside of work and we actually hang out and we do things together. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, like I was constantly still attracting people that never poured into me as much as I would pour into them. Like, they might have been able to pour into me somewhat emotionally or somewhat mentally, but it was never the way that I would do it for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way I love people, I love you deeply, and it's very powerful. You know, I'm very empathetic and I'm very caring for people, very nurturing, very healing. You know what I'm saying? And even when it came to like romantic relationships, I found myself, you know, in this pattern of always being the one to hold space for people and giving people, you know, the time and to really like be vulnerable with me and understanding. Like, I was extremely understanding with people, yet people still found a way to sabotage the relationship. Yet people still found a way to project their insecurities onto me and manipulate me a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I realized, like, when I was really done, like when I tell y'all, when I was so fed up and I was done dealing with people like that, I literally said, fuck this. Like, I'm going to keep to myself. Like, I know I was like getting in this energy of like cutting myself off completely from the world and going hermit and, you know, really cutting my heart chakra off, like turning that shit off, because I was so fed up and I couldn't figure out exactly why I kept attracting those relationships. So that's what I did. That's the only thing I knew how to do was, okay, disappear, just completely disappear from the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what I did. Even my family, I completely disappeared. I stopped talking to everybody. I literally quit my job. I did it all. Like, I literally cut the world off, yo. This was also like the peak of my awakening. So like, yes, it was a lot. But what I started realizing was all those times that I was being there for other people and they weren't being there for me, I wasn't being there for myself. I wasn't being there truly for myself. Like, I never would be like comfortable with being alone or being comfortable with being in my own energy or being comfortable with creating and really developing that relationship with myself. And then once I realized that, I was like, okay, well, let's start to work on this. Like, how do you feel emotionally? Like, I would sit with myself and I would literally ask all these questions and really get to the nitty gritty of like, why am I like this mentally? And, you know, honestly, a lot of it stems from childhood. Like, I kid y'all not, like, who we are today is literally, we are a product of our environment, of where we were raised. Like, it's so true. Like, but like, yeah, like it's a moment to you to like be honest with yourself. Be so honest and understand that it's okay. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to be truthful about the ways that you were betraying yourself, that you weren't honoring yourself, all because you were so desperate to have somebody around you. Even if it meant that those people were not good for you. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to environments, substances, certain behavioral things, like these things no longer serve your highest and all good, yet we feel so conditioned and programmed into keeping it around. That is a trauma response. And I promise you, if you sit down with yourself and you really ask yourself why you do that, I promise you, you're going to see how, you know, whoever, you know, your guardian, your parent, like whoever raised you, you're going to see a literal mirror of yourself through them. That's where you learned it from. That's exactly where you learned it from. So, yes, when it comes to self-love, it comes with a level of honesty and truth you are willing to accept within yourself. And there's like this reoccurring thing where a lot of these arts of self are extremely parallel to each other. Like, you have to have acceptance just as much as you need detachment, and you need self-love as much as you need forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these are extremely parallel. But with that being said, let's move on to the next one that is super powerful as well, which is unwavering faith. Woo, let's get in, boy. All right. So we have unwavering faith. Now, this one right here is probably the most important one. Like, they're all extremely important because, you know, they're all very parallel to each other. But this one right here, man, this one is like so powerful because this will literally dictate your reality. Like, literally. So let's talk about it. Unwavering faith is a steadfast knowing that endures challenges and does not waver. It is a strong and constant trust in God or a higher power. Now, from my understanding of how I learned how to have this unwavering faith was I first had to go through the shadows of it. So exactly like what I say, like what I have here, like I was too caring of, what other people have to say. And I would literally let them persuade me and like control me. Like I would let other people control and dictate my life. You know what I'm saying? I would let them dim my light. People always felt intimidated, jealous, envious. It goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? And I would literally let them dim my goddamn light. And it was like, dang, at the end of it, it didn't feel good. It never feels good. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just very imperative to understand that everyone, and I mean every single being, like whether you on earth or not, I don't fucking care. Like everyone is operating and responding to life based on the level they are within themselves. No amount of manipulation, gaslighting, opinions, etc., right? No amount of any of that from others has anything to do with you, but everything to do with themselves and their connection to their higher self and God. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. But people have projected this image or this mental or this mentality that, if somebody's saying something to you, then that's true. When that's just bullshit. People is constantly projecting. People are constantly literally spewing their insecurities, like their false identities, their limitations onto other people, all because they can't deal with it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yes, we are all reflections of each other, but how we operate, how we behave, like that shit is solely based on like, that shit is literally a reflection of their internal world. Like there's no way you can convince me that even like me right now, me making these videos and me operating the way that I am, this is only a reflection of my internal world. Same thing goes for the other spectrum, because we always gotta bring duality into this. So it doesn't matter whether it's how I'm doing it or if somebody's projected onto you. You know what I'm saying? Like people are always responding and making choices, decisions based on the level they are within themselves. Now, with that being said, that means that if we take anything personal that somebody is doing, then that means we somewhat resonate with whatever it is that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And how this can maybe look, I'll use myself as an example, because y'all know I love to do that. I remember this one time where I have family members that I'm on complete no contact with, right? But before I did that, we would get into these arguments, and I would always feel like I was being personally attacked by these people. Regardless if they were spewing hate, they was threatening me, however way they was doing it, right? It will always make me so mad. Like I had this rage that would literally take, like I would literally, like it would take over, and I would literally just do some of the most craziest things. Like above all things, I realized that I was not standing up for myself the way that I need to. You know what I'm saying? I did not have boundaries. And in all honesty, I used to be scared to place boundaries when it came to like family members and stuff like that, because everybody has this fucking hierarchy fucking thing and it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, how are we placing the parents above the children? Like, that never made any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So I always used to be so scared to like set boundaries with them, especially because they was always threatening me. Like they was always like, it was so exhausting. But the minute I actually did it, I felt so relieved. Like I felt so good. Like even though my sense of security was being threatened, like I was risking it. Like I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like this is not a way to treat people. Like you don't treat people like this. Like how is it that I'm somebody that you so-called say you love, but you treat me like shit? Like that makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? So when I finally was like so fed up with them just doing so much, bro, I literally started like expressing that. Like I don't care. Like that is not how you talk to me. That's not how you talk to anybody. You don't go out in the world and talk to people like that. You sure as hell ain't finna talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So like, I remember after I literally started having boundaries with myself and implementing boundaries with other people. Literally, when I tell y'all, I could not be wavered out my knowing. Like you can't tell me nothing. Like I'm not saying that I'm not open to receiving, you know, new perspectives, knowledge, whatever the case, but it's only going to be from people that's in tune with their soul and you're in tune with source. You know what I'm saying? I'm not listening to you if you can't even listen to your own self. Like I'm not doing that. If you're not doing what you want to do and how you want to do it and living a life that you love, I'm not listening to you. You know what I'm saying? And I used to get so mad when I would let people control me and they would control my reality and tell me what I should do and what I shouldn't be doing. It would just make me so mad. And I realized, damn, that means I need to be the one to say, you know what? Above all things, screw what they're saying. You do what you love. Do what you want to do. And that's it. Like, do what you want to do what you love, and don't let anybody convince you or try to tell you that it's not possible or that, you know, because a lot of people that operate like that, they don't believe in themselves, so obviously they're not going to believe in you either. So it's like listening to those people, it's exhausting and you get nowhere. So like literally do what you love and love what you do. And by all costs, like take the risk, take the freaking risk. And you'll realize the whole time on the other side of that risk that it was everything that you wished for, that you were literally asking God for. You know what I'm saying? So really, when it comes to unwavering faith, it's really believing in yourself. It's trusting yourself, and it's having that faith in yourself, like ultimately. And like I said, the best way for you to actually understand what it means to trust yourself is when you go through the motions of listening to other people for so long to the point where you get so fed up because you're so unhappy, you're so unfulfilled with life, and you start asking the questions, the right questions. Like you start asking yourself, why am I not happy? Why am I not fulfilled with things? You know what I'm saying? Sitting with yourself and really asking those detailed questions and getting to the bottom of it, and really truly start operating from your soul, from your spirit. And yeah, like that's pretty much it for unwavering faith. Now, the next one, which is the last one, is mind, body, and resilience. Let's get on into it. All right. So we got the very last one, but definitely not least. And this one, mind, body, resilience, is all about you knowing that you are capable and that you have the ability to adapt and bounce back from any challenging situations by maintaining not just your mental, not just your physical, your emotional well-being as well, okay? And honestly, the shadows of this, as you can see, is some aspects of it is you not standing up for yourself, right? You lacking this need to embody your authentic self. It's you literally not allowing yourself to take up space. You know what I'm saying? You think that, you're pretty much, walking around on eggshells. Like, and I've also seen this sense of like hopelessness. Like, there's no way I can overcome that situation. And honestly, guys, I don't really have a story to tell about this, but for this portion, I really want you guys to hear some motivational truth. And honestly, this is ultimately about you taking complete control of your life. This is your life. It's yours. Command your authority. You are a divine sovereign being. You do not have to let anybody, and I don't care if it's family, I don't care if it's your friends, I don't care if it's your goddamn co-worker, I don't care who it is. You have the ultimate authority to command and shift any fucking thing that you put your mind to. Truly be yourself. And honestly, I think as a collective, if we can be able to at least shift our perspective to view challenges as with curiosity, with, a sense of compassion, and be willing to learn and observe the lesson at hand that needs to be taught, you know what I'm saying? In order for you to really overcome whatever situation it is. And ultimately, it's always going to lead you back to you overcoming your fears. That's all this is. Overcoming your limiting ways of thinking. You bounding yourself to things that literally don't exist. It's like these illusions that we've created in our heads. So really learn how to view challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. It doesn't have to be this scary thing that, because I'm going through this, that, everything may fall apart, but I guarantee you that you are more than capable of rebuilding it, even stronger than what it previously was. This is ultimately about you truly empowering yourself, knowing that you have what it takes to keep going no matter the circumstance. And that's for anything. This is whether it's your environment that you're currently in, whether it's a relationship, whether it could be anything, a job, a career. It can be literally anything. The biggest thing about this mind-body resilience is you believing in yourself. Believe in yourself. You are so capable of anything, and anyone trying to bound you or tell you that you're fucking crazy or that's impossible, literally don't listen to them. Source, God, the divine would never tell you that you cannot accomplish anything that you put your mind to. God would never sit up there and tell you that you can't overcome something. I promise you that. So seriously, this is a moment of you just being real with yourself. Have that level of honesty, but meet it with a level of compassion, grace. You do not have to be ashamed of yourself because you are going through challenges. It's not a punishment, but there is something that you are meant to learn from it. And this can be regarding self-love as well. Learning how to really trust yourself, learning how to really respect yourself, learning how to really put yourself first, because for so long we have literally been trained to put ourselves last. That shit is up. It's completely up, and it no longer works for us. And with that being said, that is pretty much it for this video. Once again, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. I really do thank you so much. If you have anyone that you feel like would really love hearing what I had to say, I definitely encourage you to share this with them, and share this with any like-minded person, and make sure to comment, like, subscribe if you're not. You know what I'm saying? Support your girl. And if you need any advice, I believe my socials is in my LinkedIn. On my website, you should be able to enter. I should have my email on there, but if anything, there's a prompt where you can enter some information and it'll come to my email. So if you have any questions, or you can just leave them down in the comment section, that'll work too. And yeah, like I said, this right here is some vital principles to master. And I don't care if you're on Earth or wherever you're at, this is universal. This is an absolute must for everybody. But yeah. I'll definitely catch you guys on the next one. Peace.